There's no way President Trump would accept that deal. He's called Meghan Markle nasty and says he feels sorry for Prince Harry because his wife is a lot to deal with. Trump says he hates the way that Harry dealt with the lake.
Now, the Sussexes have copped it from comedian Colin Jost on Saturday Night Live. He's joked that one of the conditions of Trump's new trade deal with the UK is that Harry and Meghan have to go back.
Colin Jost just did what the British royal family never dared to do. He said the quiet part out loud, and he did it live on one of the most watched comedy shows in the world. Meghan Markle, the carefully curated Duchess, the global humanitarian, the woman who walked away from royalty for privacy and purpose, was roasted so savagely on Saturday Night Live, it left audiences howling, the internet in flames, and Meghan's defenders dead silent. But before we get into the most viral takedown of the year, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. This is where we break down the truth behind the headlines, expose the media spin, and deliver the commentary you won't hear anywhere else. Let's dive in. It all started during the Weekend Update segment, with his signature deadpan delivery and a smirk that said, "I know this one's going to break the internet." Colin Jost launched into a monologue that will likely go down in late-night history. The punchline? Meghan Markle was no modern-day Diana. According to Jost, she's the PR princess, a wannabe Diana with Wi-Fi. The audience didn't just laugh, they roared, and social media, it detonated. Hashtags like #FakeDiana and #PRPrincess trended within minutes. Clips of Jost's roast shot across TikTok and YouTube faster than Buckingham Palace could issue no comment. But this wasn't just comedy. This was a full-blown cultural gut check. The moment the public collectively admitted something it had been side-eyeing for years. Meghan's fairy tale was starting to look like a marketing pitch, and people were over it. The genius of Jost's jokes wasn't in the delivery, it was in the accuracy. He didn't need to twist the truth or exaggerate. He simply pointed out the glaring contradiction that has defined Meghan Markle's public image for the last 5 years. Privacy, she says. And yet here comes another podcast, another docustories, another glossy brand rollout, this time featuring rose petal jam and hand-stitched baskets. Meghan wants space, but she also wants the spotlight. She wants to heal, but only with 5 camera angles. And that's exactly what Jost called out. Meghan Markle says she wants privacy. He began with that signature half smile. Right after signing another Netflix deal, launching another podcast, and starting a new jam brand. At this point, even Princess Diana's ghost is like, "Girl, calm down." Boom. That line didn't just sting, it echoed. Because for all the people who once rooted for Meghan as a fresh voice against a rigid monarchy, even they had started to notice something wasn't adding up. The more she spoke, the less she seemed to say. The more she performed vulnerability, the less authentic she appeared. It wasn't just a PR problem. It was an identity crisis playing out in real time. But Jost wasn't done. Not even close. He pivoted to the real punchline. The difference between being iconic and being calculated. Diana, whether you admired her or not, wore her wounds publicly. She bled in front of cameras. She risked everything, not for attention, but for justice. Meghan, according to Jost, she fled the palace only to recreate one in Montecito with better lighting and an organic herb garden. "You left the palace because it was toxic," Jost said. Understandable. But now you're living in a mansion in Montecito, sipping herbal tea, and filming 5 angles of your healing journey. That's not trauma. That's content. And the room erupted. The line was brutal. But it also hit a nerve because it reflected a growing sentiment even among Meghan's original supporters. The brand was starting to eclipse the person. The healing narrative, once relatable, now felt rehearsed. Every interview came with perfect lighting. Every soundbite felt like it had been run through 10 publicists. The rawness that made Diana so beloved, now replaced by curated self-help, speak and Instagram-ready slogans. But then Jost took it even further. He dragged Donald Trump into the mix. In doing so, connected pop culture, politics, and royal drama into one savage joke. President Trump announced a new trade deal. With the UK, he said, "All that Britain demands in return is that we keep these two." The camera cut to a photo of Harry and Meghan. The crowd lost it, and you know what? Trump would probably agree. This is the same man who once called Meghan nasty and said he felt sorry for Prince Harry because Meghan was a lot to deal with. That's not a political rivalry. That's a rare moment of bipartisan agreement. Trump, SNL, and a massive swath of the public all landing on the same conclusion. Meghan's act is getting tired. What made Jost's segment sting so much is that it wasn't a hit job. It wasn't a Fox News rant or a tabloid smear. It was comedy based on real contradictions. Meghan says she's oppressed but lives in a $14 million estate. She says she's silenced but signs multi-million-dollar content deals. She claims she wants peace but continues to stir up drama in every interview, podcast, and photo shoot, and the media. For the first time, even they started backing off. Variety insiders reported that Hollywood execs were rattled. One consultant allegedly told the outlet, "When SNL starts parodying a public figure this hard and it lands, your brand is in serious trouble." The term being floated around boardrooms, Meghan fatigue. That's right, Meghan fatigue. The overexposure, the constant reinvention. The endless media saturation under the guise of advocacy and truth-telling, it's become too much. And worse, it's become predictable. Even Meghan's most loyal defenders seemed to go silent after the episode aired. Feminist columnists, who once praised her as a voice for the voiceless, said nothing. Influencers who championed her jam launch suddenly lost interest. One well-known writer who'd previously penned glowing essays about Meghan tweeted just 3 words after Jost's segment aired. He wasn't wrong. That's silence. That's more dangerous than outrage. Because outrage means people still care. Silence means the magic is fading. And while Meghan reportedly felt blindsided and humiliated by the SNL sketch, calling it mean-spirited and misogynistic, critics fired back with a reality check. As one journalist wrote bluntly, "If Meghan wants to control every word said about her, she's in the wrong country and the wrong industry." The joke, they argued, wasn't cruel, it was observational, based entirely on what Meghan herself has put into the public sphere. If the mirror makes you uncomfortable, maybe it's not the mirror's fault. What made it all the more fascinating was the eerie silence from Buckingham Palace. No official statements, no damage control, just silence. But sources close to the firm reportedly told UK tabloids they weren't surprised. In fact, they were relieved. One aide allegedly said it was only a matter of time before someone said out loud what the firm has always known. Another insider, even more blunt, quipped, "She keeps trying to be Diana but ends up closer to a reality TV contestant." And maybe that's the most damning line of all. It didn't end there. If anything, the roast triggered a deeper reckoning. Just for Meghan, but for the entire narrative she's worked so hard to control. Because for the first time, even the royals silent, reserved, allergic to controversies, satisfied. Palace insiders reportedly found the SNL segment predictable, but satisfying. As one royal aide allegedly put it, the joke wrote itself. This wasn't just about comedy. This was about vindication. For years, the firm endured a relentless media onslaught from Harry and Meghan. From Oprah to Spotify to Netflix, they were painted as villains in a global morality play. Racists, out of touch, cold. But now, the tide had turned. Meghan was no longer the heroine of the story. She had become a parody of the very image she once shattered. And perhaps the most telling quote came from royal historian Hugo Vickers, who revealed that Queen Elizabeth herself never wanted to be alone with Meghan and Harry. The Queen always made sure someone else was present during meetings with them. He said in an interview she was afraid they were recording her, afraid they were collecting material. Let that sink in. The late Queen of England, one of the most respected women in global history, felt the need to protect herself from her own grandson and his wife. Not with power or authority, but with company. With witnesses, that says more than any tabloid headline ever could. And now, with Meghan's carefully crafted brand being unraveled by a 5-minute sketch on SNL, the firm doesn't need to lift a finger. Colin Jost did the job for them and America laughed. But behind the laughter, there was a growing undercurrent of something more serious. Concern not just for the public perception of Meghan and Harry, but for their viability in the media and business world. Executives in Hollywood were reportedly alarmed by how many people agreed with Jost's jokes. One insider from Netflix allegedly confessed that the company was re-evaluating future projects involving the Sussexes. They've gone from cultural icons to cultural cringe, the source said. Why? Because the joke wasn't a one-off, it was a mirror. A hard, unflinching reflection of what the public already suspected, that Meghan's truth wasn't as authentic as she claimed. That her quest for justice came pre-packaged with a brand, kit, a PR team, and a multi-million-dollar contract. And that maybe, just maybe, the whole act was getting old. Colin Jost mocked Meghan's lifestyle content as the crown for narcissists, where every episode ends with her whispering into a mirror, "You are enough." Now pan the camera, the crowd howled. But again it stung, because the image of Meghan Markle staring lovingly into a mirror isn't far-fetched. It feels all too real, especially now that she's launched lifestyle brands, cooking ventures, and luxury wine with names like As Ever. It's not humanitarian work anymore, it's influencer culture with a tiara. And viewers are noticing. Even her most loyal fan base is showing signs of fatigue. But Jost didn't stop at Meghan. He turned the spotlight to Harry too, and what he said wasn't flattering. "You gave up the monarchy," Jost said, "just to marry an actress from Suits." The line drew nervous laughter at first. Then it exploded. Because no matter how progressive or romantic you are, even the most casual observer has to admit Harry gave up a kingdom for something that doesn't quite feel worth the price anymore. And that's what Jost brilliantly captured. Not hatred, not cruelty, just brutal, sobering clarity. Even Harry's own reputation has started to unravel. A recent BBC interview aired just hours after he lost his appeal for taxpayer-funded UK security. The reaction was swift and brutal. UK citizens and Americans alike flooded comment sections saying the same thing. "Take them back. We don't want them here." Harsh. Yes, but this isn't about politics anymore. It's about overexposure. About the public growing weary of two people who claimed they were stepping back only to appear in more headlines than ever before. And when you pair that overexposure with an obvious obsession with controlling every detail of their public image, you don't just lose sympathy, you lose credibility, and credibility for Meghan Markle was everything. The fallout of Jost's roast didn't stop with a few viral memes. It reached boardrooms, editorial rooms, and even Buckingham Palace. One royal insider reportedly said, "This is what poetic justice looks like." Another went even further. This was the day Meghan Markle became a cautionary tale. Because, let's be honest, it wasn't just Meghan who was mocked. It was the entire idea of performative activism, of curated victimhood, of healing as a monetized spectacle. Colin Jost didn't just roast a person, he roasted a phenomenon, and the reaction online proved it. One tweet read, "Meghan gives a TED Talk every time she toasts bread." Another user posted a meme of Meghan holding a mirror with the caption, "Main character energy, episode 53, crying into my crystal goblet." The punchlines weren't just funny, they were surgical, and through it all, Meghan remained silent. No tweet, no video, no statement. That perhaps was the smartest move, because anything she said would only fuel the fire. She knew it, her team knew it, Hollywood knew it. But the silence, for once, didn't come across as graceful, it came across as defeated. And behind the scenes, Prince William is reportedly taking notes. Sources close to the heir say that once he becomes king, there will be no more tiptoeing around Meghan and Harry, that he's prepared to strip their titles and cut all remaining official ties. And if that happens, it won't just be a royal decision, it will be the final act in a long, messy drama that's been playing out on both sides of the Atlantic for years. While Meghan's team scrambled to do damage control behind closed doors, something even more unsettling began to unfold. Her media shield cracked. The usual defenders, the influencers, the editorial writers, the TV hosts who once rallied behind her with headlines like The People's Princess 2.0 or Speaking Truth to the Crown were nowhere to be found, and that absence was louder than any joke Colin Jost delivered. Because when the media stops defending you not out of hatred but out of indifference, signals something much bigger than a PR stumble. It signals collapse, quiet, creeping, and irreversible. The media landscape thrives on passion, fans or haters. What it can't survive is silence, apathy. Meghan didn't just lose her defenders, she lost the narrative. One former Meghan advocate put it bluntly in a now viral thread. "We were sold authenticity, but it turned out to be a brand campaign." When SNL starts making these jokes and no one's pushing back, that's when you know the brand is bleeding. And that's exactly what Colin Jost did in under 10 minutes. He didn't attack Meghan's identity, he attacked the illusion of it. And people didn't just laugh, they agreed. Openly, loudly, even those who had once defended her found themselves nodding through the punchlines, because deep down, they had seen it too. The perfectly lit, candid photos, the overscripted interviews, the curated trauma, the relentless need to be seen, to be understood, to be adored in her terms, in her format, at her pace. And the moment that rhythm was disrupted by raw, unscripted satire, it all began to unravel. And what about Harry? The joke stung for him too, but the public perception has always been more forgiving. He's seen as misguided, perhaps even manipulated, but Meghan, she's been seen as the architect, the director of the royal rebrand that is now collapsing under its own weight. Jost's punchline about Harry giving up the monarchy just to marry an actress from Suits wasn't just a laugh line, it was an indictment, not of love, but of judgment, of decisions that once seemed bold, now looking foolish in hindsight. And in comedy, timing is everything. For Meghan and Harry, the timing couldn't be worse. The SNL sketch aired just as new polls in the UK showed record low approval for the set. In the US, similar numbers emerged. Meghan's lifestyle ventures were floundering. Her jam launch had become meme fodder. Her Spotify deal was dead, and Hollywood was quietly walking away. What remains is a sobering image, a woman who once commanded global headlines, now being turned into global punchlines. And perhaps that's the final twist of irony. Meghan Markle built an empire out of narrative. She sold vulnerability, resilience, modern royalty. She told the world she was more than just a duchess, that she was a survivor, a mother, a feminist, a creator, a woman finding her voice. But then came Colin Jost. With a single monologue, he exposed the contradiction that even her most loyal fans could no longer ignore. That the voice she found wasn't authentic, was strategic. That the trauma she sold wasn't intimate, that her rebrand wasn't revolutionary, it was reality TV with better lighting, and America laughed hard. Because when satire lands this sharply, it does more than entertain. It reveals, it takes the polished mask of public image and holds it up to a funhouse mirror. And in that reflection, people saw not a misunderstood princess but a performative brand stretched too thin. What happens next? Well, sources say Prince William is waiting, not with vengeance but with resolve. That when he becomes king, the tolerance for the Sussex circus will end. No more unofficial titles. No more royal perks for non-working royals. No more pretending that the Montecito media empire is anything but a rogue satellite orbiting far from the crown. And when that moment comes, the final chapter of Meghan's royal narrative may be written not by her, not by Oprah, not by Netflix, but by a monarch who believes in duty over drama. But until then, the world will remember this, that Meghan Markle didn't fall because of the press or the palace or politics. She fell because of a joke. A simple, brutal joke told on a Saturday night stage by a man in a suit with a smirk. And in just under 10 minutes, he did what years of royal statements, media backlash, and public doubt. COULDN. Single quotes T. He changed how we see her. Forever. And that's the power of comedy. That's the power of truth when it's finally allowed to breathe. And that's why Meghan Markle may never fully recover from this. So, what's your take? Did Jost cross the line? Or did he simply say what we've all been thinking? If you found this takedown as revealing as it was hilarious, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. We've got more deep dives, cultural commentary, and brutally honest takes coming your way. Don't miss what's next.